For whatever we lose, like you or me, it's always ourselves that we find in the sea. Fairfield Beach has been an important part of the Russo family since my grandfather was young. My great-grandparents, grandfather, father, and uncles all lived or grew up on Fairfield Beach. I am fortunate enough to carry on this tradition. My family's long history with Fairfield Beach, combined with my life experience there, has made it very important to me. Similar to Umpqua, I have not known a life without it. Both the beach and Umpqua have been a constant and integral part of my life. Fairfield Beach was part of my life before I even knew it. My parents and I moved into my grandparents' guest house when I was born because our house was being renovated. And so my connection to the beach started when I was an infant, lulled to sleep by the sound of the waves. I guess you could say I'm tied to the beach. One of my first memories at the beach is my Umpqua Pre-K 3 Dora and Diego themed end of the year party with Miss Shannon and my fellow classmates in attendance. Excitement rushed over my body when my classmates finally arrived. We quickly wiggled into bathing suits and reluctantly put on our sunscreen before running straight for the salty blue waves. In those days, the beach was all about sandcastles and buckets of carefully collected shells and racing on the sandbar. Today, as 8th graders, my friends still enjoy coming to the beach. Now, though, instead of swimmies and shovels, we've graduated to kayaks and paddleboards, even though some of us would be safer building sandcastles. Raphael. Sneha. What? Even as we got older and mature, actually, scratch that. Even as my friends and I aged literally, we still enjoy similar aspects of the beach. But soon as our feet hit the sand, you might still confuse us with a bunch of 3-year-olds. The beach has the ability to revert anyone of any age back to a child at heart. At school when we were younger, we looked forward to playing on the playground and field trips. However, now that we are older and our interests have matured, we look forward to ski trips, no homework, and free time. The raft in front of our house has been a popular destination for neighbors, family, and friends. Summer starts at the Russo's house when it is towed by boat from the creek behind our house into the sound and is anchored offshore in front of the house. Each year, as spring turned towards summer, I would anticipate the day when we would bring the raft around. When that day came, I used to sit on the boat and watch my Uncle Chris and grandfather struggle to attach the raft to its anchor. Over the years, I watched the process of the raft being brought around, and gradually my role increased from observer to assistant. 2 years ago, I arrived at the beach and expected that, as in previous years, I'd be bringing the raft around with my uncle and my grandfather. To my surprise, my uncle wasn't there, and it was just me and my grandfather. I was super nervous that I was going to do something wrong and that the raft would float away. With my grandfather's help, I was successfully able to attach the raft to the anchor. Thankfully, it wasn't as hard as I expected. I was proud and very relieved when my grandfather told me I'd done better than everyone else before me. Now that I've done it for 2 years and have driven the boat several times, I have a hat that says, "I'm the first mate on Maximum Bob," which is the name of my grandparents' boat. Comparable to subjects such as mathematics, Spanish, and humanities, time, observation, and practice are necessary to execute more advanced tasks. Every year, there are big annual celebrations known around the world, such as New Year's Eve in Times Square, Carnival in Rio de Janeiro, and Winterfest in Fairfield, Connecticut. For the Russo family, it is 4th of July. Our annual 4th of July party is one that all family members look forward to. It is one of the 2 times in the year when the whole family gets together. I am fortunate enough to have a large family. Included in that are my 14 cousins ranging in age from 2 to 16 years old, as well as my 3-year-old brother, Colin. My older cousins and I have enjoyed this holiday for as long as I can remember. Much like Winterfest, with its weeks of preparation and elaborate set designs, it is quite a spectacular event. 4th of July is very carefully choreographed. Tables are set, toys are bought, too much food is made, and the yard is thoroughly decorated. Very similar to assembling the bleachers, buying the props, preparing the royal feast, and putting the set pieces on the stage. The grand finale of the night are the fireworks on the beach. Much like the explosion of confetti culminating the end of Winterfest, we greatly anticipate the colorful displays in the night sky. I can't imagine a year at Umpqua without the festivities of Winterfest, and I can't imagine a year at the beach without a 4th of July. I have celebrated both these events for almost my whole life. As much as my role has changed in Winterfest, so has my role at the 4th of July party. My older cousins and I, much like the Winterfest Royal Court, are entrusted with setting an example for the younger generation, the knights and jesters of our family. I constantly see parallels between my experiences at the beach in Umpqua. Within these walls, I have grown from a 3-year-old toddler to a 14-year-old 8th grader heading for high school. Just as my rules have changed at school, so have mine at the beach. I hold them both dearly to my heart, and I will truly miss Umpqua next year. Even when I graduate, I will always have the beach to remind me of my Umpqua family. Perhaps I take many of my days at Umpqua and the beach for granted. Having to do this speech and having to revisit these wonderful memories from 14 years at the beach and 11 years at Umpqua, I now fully understand how fortunate I am to live in such a beautiful place and go to an amazing school.